Alright. Voice systems activated.
Voice command active, sir. Security systems online.
Alright. Finally, now we won't have to worry about any more ninjas or Nazis running into my nerd cave while I'm trying to do reviews. How are you feeling now?
I feel quite good, sir.
That's excellent. And please, call me Jester.
Right then, Jester.
Awesome. What am I gonna call you? How about Fusion-Powered Auxiliary Nerd Cave Safeguard?
Fans, sir?
Yeah, fans. After all, everything I do is for the fans. So, what's my next review?
Your next review is X Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh boy. Raise security systems to any red and black clad mercenaries, will you please, fans?
Yes, sir.
Greetings, geeks and girls. I'm the Joyful Jester, and welcome back to the Nerd Cave for another comic book movie review. There are three major comic book laws. 1. Good will always triumph over evil. 2. Superheroes never stay dead. And 3. Wolverine is one bad mother lover. Created in The Incredible Hulk number 181, there's not a lot that we know about Wolverine's origin that's absolutely confirmed because of his memory issues. However, what we do know is that he was a born mutant with bone claws, a super sleuth nose, and regenerative healing. But after he was included into a program that actually dipped his bones in an incredibly strong metal known as adamantium, the already unkillable Wolverine became even more unkillable. After wandering through the wilderness and tangling with the Hulk a few times, he was accepted by Charles Xavier to be a member of the X Men, where he still resides today. I know there's a lot more to his story than just that, but I'd like to keep this video to a reasonable length, so let's just stick with the basics and get on to the movie itself. I have to say, this movie must have been a pain to work on, with weather being erratic, Hugh Jackman being busy with prior engagements, and the script being written while they were filming it. It's no wonder we got the product we ended up getting. Now, I wanted to revisit this film for three major reasons. Aside from it being topical, one of the two main reasons this movie was hated when it came out was 1, people wanted an R-rated solo Wolverine movie, and 2, they hated the way Deadpool was portrayed. Since we basically got an apology for both of those things, I think it's interesting to look back at this movie and see if it's still worthy of everybody's ire and hatred. Alright, bub, let's get moving and start with the pros, because believe it or not, yes, there are pros. I want to start out by saying that the intro to this movie is really well handled. Seeing young Logan go from having 2 dads to 1 is actually pretty gripping, and seeing the montage of him and Liev Schreider's Sabretooth, done beautifully by the way, going through the wars was also really well done. Come to think of it, the entire cast deserves some love. Hugh Jackman does good as always, Taylor Kitsch is still really good casting for Gambit despite his fight scene being kinda silly, and of course Ryan Reynolds proves he was always perfect casting for Deadpool even back then. And I do want to give a bit of leeway to the action scenes because while they're not exactly original, they are still fun. Wade in the elevator and the helicopter fight being major highlights. I also want to give credit to the costume design for Logan specifically. Anybody who knows me knows I can't stand this dull, leathery, impractical, wish-it-was-CW Flash masquerade of a superhero costume. Although, leather jacket Logan I will accept. This right here is badass. This is major high-class fashion on a guy who's gonna gut you like a fish, bub. And while it was cool to see in the deleted scenes, I doubt that with the current movie market that they would have actually gotten Hugh Jackman to wear this on a full movie. It probably would have just looked really... Holy schnicked! Now we can move on to the cons, with probably the most obvious one getting out of the way. This movie should have been rated R. Logan's consistently talking about how he's gonna cut people's heads off, and it's just disappointing that he can't really go far with it. I feel like some more gory violence and maybe a few more looser language moments would have made this movie stand out a little more among the X Men films at the time. Also, outside of Sabretooth, who I do think is legitimately well done, the villains are all stock, Stryker especially. He is what I call in these types of movies a professional douchebag. He's here specifically to be a jerk to the main character and have no sympathy from the audience, but in doing that, he's not interesting in the slightest. And now let's move on to the thing everybody's talked about, Deadpool. Can we even call him that? I mean it when I say that Wade started out strong, but it feels like they just completely stripped him away to self-serve Stryker some more by making him into a completely different character. He's just some weird mutant experiment that Stryker made, combining a bunch of other characters' powers, like Sabretooth, Wolverine, Cyclops, who's shoehorned into this film for no reason. And of course, they sewed his mouth shut, taking away his source of power. In fact, I'm just gonna say it, this movie did to Deadpool what the New 52 did to Lobo. Yeah, that's right, I said it. Overall, this film is absolutely worthy of ridicule for the bad things it did to piss off the fans, but with an R-rated solo Wolverine movie and a faithful adaptation of Deadpool now existing, hell, the two have even crossed over now. At this point, looking back on it, there's a lot less ire and hatred I have for it, and it's just kind of a dumb movie. The things that are good are really good, but it's just, I can't just act as if that now that these two other movies exist, that this film is suddenly a lot better. So, as for my ranking, as I'm fair, I have to give it a 2 issues in the long box. It's definitely not worth, watching unless you're a hardcore comic book fan who likes to rip apart bad movies like myself. But you can at least still admire Hugh Jackman for who he is, because he's still a badass. Other than that, I'm the Joyful Jester. I'm the best there is at what I do, and what I do is review comic book movies.